Everyone, it's Camille and Kayla. Thanks for joining us again on Twin Tuesdays. This week, our very special guest is our sister-in-law, Rhea Morton in Austin, Texas. Hey, Rhea. Hey, Rhea. Thanks for joining us.
What's up? Finally, I get to be on your show. I mean, I'm only family. I mean, it took long enough. Okay. Took long enough.
Finally. So we are super excited that we finally got together. So we definitely want you to share your experiences as you are in a completely different market from us. And we just want to hear about your experiences. So tell us how long you've been a realtor and a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, cool. So I've been a realtor for about 6 years now. Was doing it full time while I was in college. So I was taking 18 hours at Baylor, and then I've grown up around real estate, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but got bored with college and I was like, hey, like real estate's a great avenue. So let me just get my license. So I got my license and I did real estate in Waco for about 2 years. Then met your brother, fell in love, got married, and then we moved to Austin and then kind of did the corporate thing for a little bit and kept my license going. So a total of 6 years. And it's very cool because Waco market is very different, but also the Austin market has changed even in the couple of years that we've been here. So, I mean, it's an exciting time, right? Like I've been through a market high and now a market low. And so it's really cool to just see how things are shifting and then how, different agents are coming into the market with different perspectives. So that's where I'm at. And that's the real estate journey so far.
Okay. Since you have experienced highs and lows, like tell us, since you've been in the Austin market, I guess, like what's been the most challenging part about real estate so far?
Yeah, so I think, well, I'm a mom of two and a wife, and we do dabble in some other businesses. And so I think just finding balance in my own personal life. And then I think the hardest part about being a real estate agent is creating the relationships and understanding that it's a nurture game, right? Like you have to create relationships, network with other people, but you can't force anyone to buy a house. This is a really big purchase, especially if they're a first-time home buyer. So I think the most important thing is education. And a lot of agents come in hot and heavy because it's a good business to be in. You're a business owner. You want to do really well. You want to be successful. But at the same time, when you're getting clients, you kind of have to be a therapist. You kind of have to be like a counselor, an educator. You have to be all parts of the transaction. And so really, I think the most challenging part is having patience with clients and understanding their situation, especially when you're like, come on, guys, like it's a good investment, just do it. So in the Austin market, we went through this crazy high. I was working with buyers and we went through I think my all-time high was writing 40 offers for one client. And they got the 41st house, but it was this crazy competition that the buyer wasn't really understanding why. And then realtors weren't understanding why either. And so you really have to look at the macroeconomics of what's going on, not only like in the US, but in Austin. So here in Austin, we have like technology companies moving in. So we have Meta, we have Samsung, we have Tesla, all growing here. So everybody from California, because $1 million sounds cheap to Californians. They come over here and they buy. Developers are buying land. Developers are, investors are coming in to buy rental properties. And so the market is getting very saturated and it's getting very competitive because people who are renting for a long time, they're like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to rent forever, but I feel like I'm not going to be able to afford a house in 5 years. So let me hurry up and buy something. And so I think that crazy roller coaster of this high just made people very anxious and feel like, oh, I'm going to miss out if I don't buy right now. Granted, the interest rates were really low and it was a good time to buy. So the competition was worth it. Now we're over here, we're seeing 6, 7, 8% interest rates. And it's still a good time to buy in certain markets. And that's where I think the education piece comes in because it's challenging, right? Because somebody can say, hey, it's 8% interest rate. I'm not going to buy. But it's like, well, you're in Austin. The value of the house is not going to go down. Date the rate, divorce it later, refinance. And so, you know, I mean, people need to buy when they're ready at the end of the day, but it's our job to counsel them through that and just really educate them.
Yeah, this market has been just as challenging. Like you put in 40 offers. I mean, like we were just as much with some of our buyers out here. So that stress was felt all over the place. I'm definitely glad that it's shifted, right? But now people are like, hey, should I buy? Should I not buy? So like you said, it's super important that people just buy when they're ready. And I think that, you know, like you said, our goal is to just continue to educate them as, you know, throughout the whole process. So that's important. Super.
Yeah.
So we did want to talk to you a little bit about your father because we know that he is also in real estate.
Dun,
So
dun, dun.
you
The original mobster.
you said you grew up around real estate, so we definitely want to tap into that a little bit and learn how your father has impacted your business.
Yeah. So my dad's a cute little Italian man. Super great grandpa. He loves to come visit the kids. And he's never had a corporate job, which is very cool. Never in his life has he had like a 9 to 5. So he's always been a business owner in several different capacities. He's been a realtor for as long as I can remember. He's been an investor, a flipper, all of that. And so vividly, I remember growing up, and we probably moved with my dad 12 times by the time I was in high school. And so he would buy the house that he was renovating and we would live in it. So as a kid, it's like, this is ridiculous. Like I would wake up and there would be no kitchen, just like overnight. It's like, kitchen gone. Like, Dad, where's the fridge? Like, what happened? He's like, oh, I got to redo the tile, blah, blah. And so like, I mean, living in construction is just like a whole nother level. Now looking back, I'm like, wow, that's commitment, you know, like my kids are spoiled because they don't have to endure like climbing over a ladder or just like having the toilet gone one day. But yeah, so I mean, I've lived through it. And it's actually very heartwarming because my dad tells the story. He's like, I had to do whatever I could to make it. And real estate was my path to do it, because when you buy a house, you fix it and you flip it, it's like a large chunk of money. Because he never had that like stable income, he had to make sure that he was always actively working on a project. And I remember he said there was like all-time low financially for him. And I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but he said he would have to take back things to Home Depot in order to buy dinner for us. And I didn't know that obviously at the time. I always thought he was a millionaire. But you know, like he really endured a lot of hardship and he made it happen for me, really, because he wanted to give me a better life. I went to private high school. I went to a private college. He paid for all of my college. Like I reaped the benefits later, but he did sacrifice a lot. We sacrificed comfort, and you know, he basically took a big risk. And a lot of real estate is taking that risk, and being a business owner is taking that risk. You know, not knowing where your next check is going to come from, but you're believing that you have the skills to make it happen. So that's the journey with old dad.
Well, that's super motivating because those are those things that people don't see, you know, the kids living through some of those renovation times and then, you know, just having to make those budget decisions like, do I feed my family? Do I go to this project? So those are really the true sacrifices, the grit that people don't want to deal with in real estate. They just want the good side. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that struggle and the sacrifices and just how, you know, it impacts you now. That's
Yeah.
I never knew that. I never knew that. So that's good. That's very inspiring. It is inspiring. I feel like I'm on the same path. Like I believe in myself. I believe in myself. I believe in myself. Yeah. Well. So yeah, that's good. So how do you feel like you are as a realtor because of what he has done for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think as a mom now and a realtor, and I really understand what it is to play the long-term game. So what I do now is sowing seeds for what's going to happen later. Like I have a very clear vision of what not only I want my real estate life to look like, but what I want my kids to inherit. Like I want them to inherit homes. I want them to inherit assets. Like I want to set them up financially. It's interesting because my dad never really talked to me about budgeting or like the business side of real estate, which I wish he would have. But because I was exposed to it as a little girl, like I would go to showings with him like every day, probably, and I would go to these houses that were broken down, no floor. I'm like, I can't like fit through this crawl space. And he's like, it's fine. Like, I mean, I did the whole gamut. And so it was exciting. It definitely caused us to bond more because even now, like we have common ground. I think like he sucks at technology. So I help him with his Facebook ads and all that, but he's really great in the real estate knowledge. And I can call him and say, hey, this guy's got a 540 credit score. Like, what do I do? And so he's also a lender too. He does it all, but like just having kind of like a confidant and he's almost like a mentor where I can go to him. And he has a ton of answers and a ton of wisdom because he's been there for over 30 years. So
that's just very inspiring. I'm just
yeah.
loving the family connect and the inspiration that we can all learn from your father. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
So we know, little birdie told us that you are building a house. So as a realtor, we wanted to know your experience with that and how that process has been on the other side of the transaction or both sides really.
Both sides, because your girl's getting paid to buy her own house. Okay.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, which your brother may fire me at any point. We're almost made it. We're a couple of weeks from closing, but
Awesome.
yeah. So no, I mean it's been really exciting because it is our first home and I always felt like such an imposter. Like I'm helping all these other people buy houses, but I knew that it was like our time to do it because one, we have 2 kids, and 2, like I think educating your brother on a lot of things, like when we were renting an apartment, he was just like, I don't want to incur all those expenses as a homeowner, which is like, so it's the objections that we come across all the time with our clients. And so I think if I would have talked to him sooner, we would have bought a house sooner. But anyways, everything happens because God has a reason. And like my house, like is so beautiful. Like I'm so excited. It's so gorgeous. And I'm super grateful. Like we're building in an area that's still developing. So we're building in Hutto, which is like a little bit outside of Austin, about 25 minutes from the city, not too far. But they're building the infrastructure and like it's really cool from the ground up to like see, they're putting a salad place across the street, which is nice, and like they're building a whole complex down the road and like we're meeting all the neighbors, and so like now we're very invested. Whereas obviously when you're with a client you want to be invested in like in their personal life, but like as a buyer you're like, I want to know everything they're building. I want to talk to the mayor on Facebook. Like I want to know everything. Like your brother's supposed to go to HOA meetings, like he's gonna be on the board. Like he's like, oh, that fence, absolutely not. And so I think you take like a different level of ownership like around your community, but also like this decision is just the best decision we've made outside of our kids, like it's we just have a lot of pride and it's very cute. Like your brother, my amazing husband, goes to check on the house every day, every single day, and he will be like, nah, there's a crack there, that's not done. This is crooked. And he writes everything down. Like I'm like, you're better than me. Like he goes and checks every day to see what they did. So yeah, we're excited. We close next week, fingers crossed, if everything can get done. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Congrats to you guys. Like buying a home is like significant, but building it it's a different layer. So I've been able to fortunately help some clients through new construction. So I've been on the realtor side of it. And it definitely is a very emotional process, but I'm glad that you guys are, you're getting through for one. But you've really been, you've been true to the process, right? Like you've got to stick through it. You've got to go through the hurdles. You can't give up, even when things just seem shaky. You guys just kept pushing. So congrats on that. That's amazing.
Thanks, girl. Thank
We
you.
definitely can't wait for y'all to invite us down. We'll just pop.
Time. We got lots of space. Lots of space.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't wait. So we're just gonna round this out with one final question of why should clients work with you? Yeah.
Because I'm pretty cool. No, yeah, I mean, I like to have fun, right? Like I think it's really interesting because clients will turn into friends faster than friends turn into clients. And I've just made a lot of friends through this industry. Like I genuinely want to see other people succeed. I think relationships is one of my strong suits. Like I always want people to come to the table and feel heard and listened to, but feel like I have their best interests at heart. And that I'm not in it for a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like I really genuinely want them to set themselves and their family up for financial success. And so, yeah, so I think me having a vested interest outside of the transaction is what I bring to the table. And that's it.
And fun fact, Rhea is bilingual.
Yes. Yo hablo español.
We always need that. We definitely need that. So we cannot forget about a bilingual realtor because they are very much needed. So yeah, you're an asset for sure. Definitely an asset. All right, everyone. Well, thank you, Rhea, for joining us. If anyone is in the Austin area or looking to move to the Austin area, definitely reach out to Rhea. She'd be more than happy to assist you with any of your real estate needs. And in the meantime, you can follow her, Rhea.Morton like the salt. I love it. On Instagram. And we'll always definitely keep learning, growing, sharing everything we can in the real estate space, the sister space, and let's do great things. Yeah, let's do great things.
Let's do it.
The word of encouragement for this week is the inspiration you seek is already within you. Be silent and listen. Until next time, follow us, like us, and subscribe on our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. T.W.I.R.E, Twins Winning in Real Estate. Thanks for joining us.